Noah had always felt the weight of silence at the dinner table, but that night it shattered. As his sister flashed a strange hand sign, one he had never seen before, his heart raced. In just a few minutes, their lives spiraled into chaos when his parents revealed the family secret, their mother's betrayal that had unfolded over 7 long years. A trust shattered, and with it, the fragile bonds of their family unraveled like a threadbare tapestry. Standing in the ruins of their shattered home, he whispered, "My name is Noah. Nothing will ever be the same again." As I stood there, the weight of my world pressing down on my shoulders, my mind raced through memories of happier times. I thought of Mia, with her infectious laughter and the way she could light up the dimmest of rooms. I couldn't believe that something so innocent could be the catalyst for our family's unraveling. The hand sign she made, seemingly playful and harmless, had become a symbol of a deeper pain I had yet to comprehend. I glanced at her, sitting cross-legged on the floor, her big eyes filled with confusion and innocence, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing around her. My gaze shifted to my mother, Sarah, whose face was lined with regret and sorrow. She had always been the rock of our family, fiercely protective and unwavering in her love. Yet, in that moment, I saw cracks in her armor. It struck me how vulnerable she was, grappling with her own demons while trying to maintain a semblance of normalcy for Mia and me. I longed to reach out to her, to assure her that everything would be all right, but the chasm between us felt insurmountable. The betrayal she had spoken of echoed in my ears, and I couldn't help but wonder what the truth really was. Then there was Mark, my estranged father. Memories of our strained relationship flooded back. His absence felt like a ghost haunting our home. I thought about the letters he sent from a distance, filled with apologies and promises of change, but they had never seemed enough. I resented him for leaving, yet a part of me craved understanding, an explanation for why he chose his past over us. Was he truly the villain in this story, or was there more to his side of the tale? The thought of reaching out to him gnawed at me, a temptation wrapped in layers of uncertainty. I felt a surge of determination as I contemplated my next steps. The secrets of the past had begun to reveal themselves, and I knew I couldn't ignore them any longer. The hidden language Mia had inadvertently shared needed to be deciphered, not just for me, but for her. She deserved to grow up knowing the truth about her family, even if it was painful. I needed to protect her innocence, but I also needed to untangle the web of lies that had ensnared us. "Sarah," I said softly, breaking the silence that weighed heavily in the air. She turned her gaze towards me, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "We need to talk." "About everything." Her expression shifted, a mixture of fear and hope flickering across her face. I felt like I was stepping onto fragile ice, uncertain of where it would crack beneath me. "What do you want to know, Noah?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "You've heard everything I could tell you. What more is there?" I took a deep breath, steadying myself. "I want to understand. I want to know why you chose to betray him. Was it as simple as you made it sound?" The words hung in the air like a heavy mist. I could see the tension in her shoulders as she processed my question. "It wasn't simple, Noah. It never is," she replied, her voice laced with a mix of pain and resolve. "I thought I was protecting you both. I thought keeping the truth from you would save you from suffering." "What if it's suffering that we need to go through to heal?" I shot back, feeling a surge of anger and frustration. "What if knowing everything is the only way to move forward?" Sarah's expression softened, and for a moment, I saw the mother I had always loved so dearly. "I just didn't want you to hate your father," she confessed, her voice trembling. "I didn't want you to see him as the monster I sometimes saw. But perhaps I've underestimated you, Noah. You deserve to know the truth." In that moment, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe this was the beginning of a healing process that could mend our fractured family. "I need to talk to him," I said decisively, surprising even myself. "Your father?" she asked, her eyes widening in shock. "Noah,
He's not the same man you remember. He's struggled with his past. He might not want to talk to you." "I know," I said, my heart pounding as I pictured Mark's face. "But I can't ignore the chance to understand. I have to try." The determination in my voice seemed to ignite something in her. Sarah nodded slowly, her expression contemplative. "If you think that's what you need, then I won't stop you."
"Just promise me you'll be careful." "I will," I assured her, though I couldn't shake the fear gnawing at my insides. That night, as I lay in bed, I replayed the conversation in my mind. I thought about how Mia would react if she knew I was trying to reach out to our father. I could picture her innocent face lighting up at the thought of family unity, but I also recognized the risks involved. What if Mark hurt us again? Would I be leading my sister into more turmoil? With those thoughts swirling, I finally drifted into an uneasy sleep, dreams filled with shadows of the past and whispers of hope for the future. I awoke the next morning with a fierce resolve, knowing that this was only the beginning of a journey that would test my heart, my loyalties, and the very fabric of our family. I was determined to unravel the secrets that had plagued us for so long, to find the strength to confront the truth. I wanted to bring light into the darkness that had overshadowed our lives. Today, I would reach out to Mark, and with each step forward, I hoped to uncover not just his story, but the threads that could weave our family back together. I stood in front of the mirror, adjusting my collar, trying to prepare myself for what lay ahead. The weight of my decision settled on my shoulders like a heavy cloak, and I could feel my heart racing in anticipation of the conversation I was about to have with Mark. It had been years since I had seen him, and the last memory I had was of a chaotic argument that left deep scars on our family. But today, fueled by the discovery of Mia's hand sign and the urge to uncover the truth, I took a deep breath and headed out the door. The drive to the coffee shop felt longer than usual, the city passing by in a blur as my mind was consumed with questions. Would Mark be open to talking? Would he understand my desire to bridge the chasm between us? I recalled Mia's innocent smile, the way her eyes sparkled with hope when I promised to find answers. She was counting on me, and that thought pushed me forward, even as doubt flickered in the corners of my mind. When I finally arrived at the cafe, a sense of unease washed over me. The aroma of roasted coffee beans filled the air, mingling with the sound of light chatter and clinking cups. I spotted Mark sitting at a small table in the corner, his hands wrapped around a steaming mug, looking older and wearier than I remembered. As I approached him, I noticed the familiar lines of worry etched on his forehead, and it struck me that he too had been carrying burdens far heavier than I had anticipated. "Hey," I said, my voice a mix of nervousness and determination. He looked up, his eyes reflecting surprise and something else. Was it regret? "Can we talk?" "Sure," he replied, a slight nod acknowledging my presence, but his gaze shifted away, as if he was reluctant to confront the moment. I slid into the seat opposite him. The space between us, feeling vast, yet laden with unspoken words. I could sense the tension, the weight of the years that had passed without any form of reconciliation. "How have you been?" I asked, trying to sound casual, but the question felt hollow. I wasn't here to exchange pleasantries. I wanted to cut to the chase. "I need to talk to you about something important." Mark seemed to hesitate for a moment, as if he was weighing the significance of my words against the history we shared. Finally, he sighed deeply and set his mug down. "I know things have been complicated," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "You have every right to be angry with me." I felt a surge of emotion at his acknowledgement. Angry? It's not just anger, Mark. It's confusion, sadness. Mia doesn't understand any of it. She's just a kid. My words spilled out, each syllable weighted with the desire for answers. She made a hand sign during the family gathering, and it made me realize there's so much more going on. It felt like a secret language, and I can't just ignore it. Mark's eyes widened, a flicker of recognition crossing his face. The hand sign, you saw that? He rubbed his forehead as if trying to smooth out the wrinkles of a painful memory. Mia has been using that sign for a while. I didn't think you'd noticed. Why didn't you tell us? Why is it a secret? I pressed, urgency coloring my tone. I don't want to accuse you, but we need to talk about what happened, about why you left. We all deserve to know. His silence spoke volumes, and I could see the battle raging within him. Mark took a deep breath, and for a moment, I thought he might open up. I never meant to hurt you or Sarah, he finally said, his voice shaky. I thought leaving would be for the best, for everyone. I was trying to protect you from my mistakes. Protect us by disappearing? My heart raced at the frustration bubbling within me. You left us to deal with the fallout alone. Mia is innocent in all of this. She deserves to know the truth. I watched as Mark's expression shifted. It was as if I had struck a nerve, and I realized he was confronting his own demons. I made choices I'm not proud of, he confessed, his voice breaking. I was scared and overwhelmed by everything. The mistakes I made are too heavy to bear, and I thought staying away was the right thing to do. As I listened to him, I felt a mix of empathy and anger. I understood that fear can drive people to make irrational decisions, but it didn't excuse the pain his absence had caused. But running away doesn't solve anything, Mark. It only creates more distance. Mia doesn't understand why you're not around, and I think she feels like she's lost something she can't name. Mark's gaze dropped to the table, and I could see the shame creeping in. I never wanted that for her. I thought time would heal things. That maybe one day I could come back and everything would be different. Time doesn't fix everything, I insisted, my heart aching for both of us. It's what we do with that time that matters. I want us to move forward. I want Mia to know her father, to understand her family, and the love that should unite us. He finally met my eyes, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of hope in his expression. I want that too, he said softly, but I don't know how to start. I've lost so much time, and I don't know if I can make it right. Then let's take the first step together, I urged, my voice steady. Let's figure this out. For Mia's sake, and for the sake of our family, let's try to heal. I want you to come to our house this weekend. Talk to Sarah. Talk to Mia. You owe them that much. Mark nodded slowly, a hesitant acceptance beginning to form. I could sense the tension easing ever so slightly between us, a tentative bridge starting to build where there had only been a chasm before. The weight of the world didn't lift entirely, but with each passing moment, I felt a flicker of something that had been missing for so long, a chance for reconciliation, an opportunity to rewrite our family story. As we sat there, surrounded by the hum of conversations and the clinking of cups, I realized that the path ahead wouldn't be easy, but armed with the truth, with Mia's innocent belief in love and connection, I was willing to fight for us all. This was just the beginning of a journey, one that would demand courage and vulnerability. But I was ready, and for the first time, I could sense that maybe Mark was too. As we shared our stories, I could feel the hope rising within me, a reminder that sometimes healing begins with simply reaching out and taking that first step. If you want to hear more about our journey towards healing, subscribe for updates and follow along as we navigate the complexities of family and the power of forgiveness. As the evening wore on, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to Mia's hand sign than just a playful gesture. Her innocent face, so filled with joy during the gathering, contrasted starkly with the underlying tension I felt swirling around us. My heart ached for her, caught in the middle of a storm she couldn't understand. I watched as she played with her toys, oblivious to the weight of the world around her, and I realized I had to protect that innocence. It was my responsibility as her older brother, but the more I thought about Mia's sign, the more it tugged at my curiosity. I leaned back in my chair and glanced at Sarah. She was deep in conversation with some relatives, her laughter ringing out, but I could see the flicker of worry in her eyes. She was a master of masking her feelings, but the strain was evident.
There was a part of her that wanted to shield us from the ghosts of our family's past, yet here I was, diving headfirst into those very shadows. How could I confront Mark when all I felt was confusion? I needed answers, but I didn't know if he would be willing to provide them. That night, unable to sleep, I found myself sitting on the edge of my bed, staring at the moonlight filtering through the window. My mind raced with questions about Mark and the choices he made. What had driven him away? What secrets had he kept buried that now threatened to surface? I thought of Mia's sign and how it might be a key to unlocking the history that had left us fractured. Maybe it was a language that held the truth, a way for her to communicate what she sensed but couldn't articulate. Determined to learn more, I decided to approach Mia the next day. I caught her in the backyard, her tiny hands digging in the dirt as she searched for hidden treasures. "Mia," I said softly, kneeling beside her. She looked up, her face lighting up with that innocent smile that always warmed my heart. "Can you show me your special hand sign again?" She tilted her head, considering my request. Her little fingers began to move, forming the gestures that had sparked my curiosity. I leaned in closer, trying to decipher the meaning behind each fluid motion. As she signed, I felt a wave of emotion wash over me, an unexplainable connection to her world. "What does it mean, Mia?" I asked, desperate for clarity. With the innocence only a child could possess, she pointed toward the sky, then to the ground, and then back to me, as if weaving a story that transcended words. I began to piece together the fragments of her signs. It felt like a puzzle that needed to be solved. "Is it about family?" I prompted. She nodded vigorously, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Suddenly, I was struck by an idea. I needed to get my hands on books about sign language, some kind of resource that could guide me deeper into this hidden world Mia had introduced me to. I rushed to my room and grabbed my laptop, eager to immerse myself in this new quest. Hours passed as I scoured websites and watched tutorial videos, the signs slowly becoming clearer as I practiced mimicking Mia's gestures. The next family gathering approached, and with it, I felt a mix of anticipation and anxiety. I was determined to approach Mark, to sit him down and have a real conversation. I needed to understand him, not just as my father, but as a man who had faced his own demons. When the day arrived, I watched as he walked in, looking worn and weary. There was a heaviness to his presence, and the sight of it made my heart ache for the father I barely knew. After dinner, while the adults mingled, I took a deep breath and approached him. "Dad," I began, trying to keep my voice steady. "Can we talk?" He looked up, surprise etched on his face, and for a moment I saw a flicker of hope in his eyes. We found a quiet corner of the house, and I gestured for him to sit down. "I've been thinking about our family," I said carefully, searching for the right words. "About what happened between you and Mom." I could see the tension in his jaw, but I pressed on. "Mia and I have been learning some new things. I think we can find a way to understand each other better." Mark's expression shifted, a mixture of sadness and regret washing over him. He sighed, and I could tell this was a conversation he had been avoiding. "Noah, I've made mistakes," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "I thought leaving would protect you all from my issues, but I see now how wrong I was." As he spoke, I noticed a change in my heart. While I had always felt anger and confusion toward him, now I was beginning to see the man behind the father. I could feel his struggle and pain, and for the first time, I wanted to extend grace rather than hold on to resentment. "We want you back," I said, my voice filled with sincerity. "Not just in a physical sense, but as part of our lives again." Mark looked at me, tears welling in his eyes. "I want that too, but I need to make things right. I've been running from my past for too long." This was it, the moment I had been waiting for. We were at a crossroads, and while there were no guarantees, the possibility of healing hung in the air like a beacon of hope. Returning to the gathering, I felt lighter, as though a weight had been lifted from my shoulders. Mia was playing with her toys again, and I couldn't help but smile.
I realized that this journey was just beginning, but the first steps had been taken. The foundation for healing had been laid, and together we would navigate the complexities of our family, armed with understanding and love. The next morning, the sun filtered through the curtains, casting a warm glow in our small living room. I could hear Mia's soft giggles as she played with her dolls, a sound that tugged at my heartstrings. I wanted to protect that innocence for as long as possible, even as the weight of our family's secrets loomed overhead like a dark cloud. I knew I had to confront my mom about what I had discovered. Sarah was always my anchor, but I sensed that this conversation might shake the very foundation of our lives. I found her in the kitchen preparing breakfast. The smell of pancakes wafted through the air, a comforting reminder of simpler times. I took a deep breath and approached her, my heart racing. "Mom, can we talk?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Her eyes met mine, a flicker of concern crossing her face. She nodded, and we sat at the kitchen table, the cheerful clinking of utensils replaced by an uneasy silence. "Mia made a hand sign at the gathering," I started, my voice barely above a whisper. "I think it means something. I'm not sure what, but it feels important." Sarah stiffened, her posture betraying a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. "What do you mean, Noah?" she asked, her eyes narrowing slightly. I explained how I had noticed the sign and how it felt like it carried a weight of unspoken words. A secret language that might unlock truths about our family. As I spoke, I could see a storm brewing behind her eyes, a flicker of fear mixed with something else, regret, perhaps? "I wish I could tell you everything," she finally said, her voice trembling. "But some things are better left buried." Her response only fueled my determination to dig deeper. "Mom, I need to know. Mia deserves to know. We deserve to understand our family, even if it hurts." I watched as the wall she had built around herself began to crack, just a little. "It's not just about us, Noah. It's about protecting Mia from a past that could harm her." As I processed her words, I felt anger bubbling inside me. Protecting Mia from the truth was one thing, but shielding me felt like a betrayal in itself. But isn't it worse to hide the truth? What if Mia learns it in a way that hurts her even more? I pressed, my voice rising. Sarah sighed, her shoulders sagging, as if the weight of the world rested upon them. "You don't understand the full story. Your father, he made choices that had consequences. I thought I was doing what was best by keeping you away from the pain." The name Mark hung in the air like a specter, and I could feel a knot tightening in my stomach. "Is he really that bad?" I asked, my voice quivering. "Do you hate him?" My mother's expression softened at the question, and I could see the battle raging within her. "I don't hate him. I loved him once, but love isn't always enough." The sadness in her voice made my heart ache. He was lost, Noah, and it tore us apart. I took a deep breath, remembering the brief glimpses I had of my father, the man I barely knew, but who still held a piece of my heart. "Can you at least tell me what happened?" I pleaded, desperation creeping into my tone. "I need to understand why he left." There was a long pause, filled with the unspoken tension of years. Finally, Sarah looked at me with a mix of sorrow and resolve. "It's complicated. Your father struggled with things he couldn't face. He made choices that put his own demons before our family. I tried to protect you both from that chaos." As she spoke, I felt the pieces of a puzzle starting to fall into place. I could sense the pain she carried, the sacrifices she made for us. I had never truly appreciated how her love shielded us from a darker reality. "What if I want to talk to him?" I ventured, braving the storm of emotions swirling between us. My mother's eyes widened, disbelief flashing across her face. "Noah, you don't know what you're asking. He's not the man you think he is. You might not like what you find." I clenched my fists, my resolve hardening. "But I need to try. If there's a chance to understand him, I want to take it." My mother looked away, her gaze fixed on the fading sunlight outside.
And what if he hurts you? What if he's still trapped in his past? Her voice was filled with fear, a fear I understood but refused to let govern my actions.
Then I'll deal with it, but I can't live in ignorance anymore. The silence that followed was heavy, filled with the weight of my determination and my mother's trepidation. Finally, she sighed deeply, resignation settling in her features. You're growing up so fast, Noah. I can see that you're searching for your own truth. She reached across the table, taking my hands in hers. If you decide to reach out to him, promise me you'll be careful. There's a chance he may not even want to see you. I'll take that chance, I replied firmly, feeling a mix of fear and excitement rush through me. I stood up, the resolve in my heart surging. I have to know. As I turned to leave, I felt my mother's grip tighten around my hands one last time, and in that moment, I understood that she was not just afraid of losing me, but also of facing her own demons again. I would have to tread lightly in this new world I was about to enter, but for Mia, for my family, I was willing to take the risk.
With each step I took towards unraveling the truth, I felt more connected to both my parents than ever before. The journey ahead would not be easy, but I was ready to embrace it. With renewed determination, I approached Mia later that evening, the weight of our family's secrets heavy on my heart. I had to understand what she was trying to communicate with that hand sign, a gesture that now felt like a thread connecting us to a hidden world of pain and hope. Sitting cross-legged on the living room floor, I watched her play with her dolls, their tiny faces innocent and untroubled. The contrast between her playful spirit and the turmoil that surrounded us made my chest tighten. I needed her to trust me, to know that I wasn't just her brother, but someone who wanted to help her navigate the chaos of our family. Mia, I began softly, careful not to disrupt the sanctuary she had built around herself. She looked up, her wide eyes filled with curiosity. Can you show me that hand sign again? I gestured with my own hands, mimicking the vague memory of what I had seen. Her brow furrowed for a moment, as if deciding whether to share this secret with me. I felt a surge of desperation. I had to break through the walls she had built around her small heart. She hesitated, then slowly raised her hands and formed the shape I had noticed before. My heart raced as I followed her movements. What does it mean? I asked, trying to match her solemnity with my own. Mia paused, her fingers trembling slightly, and I could see her processing something far deeper than I had expected. It means help, she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. Help? I echoed, my mind racing with the implications of her words. From who, Mia? Who needs help? I could feel the air thicken with the weight of unspoken truths. She looked down at her dolls, her small fingers absently adjusting their clothes, as if seeking comfort in their stillness. Mommy says we have to be quiet, she finally said, her voice now even quieter. She says people don't understand. My heart sank as I realized the gravity of her statement. Sarah had always shielded Mia from the chaos that had engulfed our family. I wanted to shield her too, but the knowledge that she was carrying this burden alone felt unbearable. Mia, it's okay to talk to me. I'm here for you. I want to understand, I urged gently, my words laced with sincerity. Her eyes met mine, and for a moment it felt as if a barrier had crumbled. I'm scared, she confessed, her small voice breaking. What if it makes Mommy sad? The innocence in her words struck me like a physical blow. It was evident that Mia was acutely aware of the fractures in our family. Sometimes, when you know something bad, it's better to keep it inside, she added, her tone heavy with the wisdom of someone much older than her years. I swallowed hard, feeling the sting of tears pricking at the corners of my eyes. But keeping things inside can hurt us too, Mia. It can make us feel lonely, I replied, hoping to show her a different path. If we share our feelings, we can face them together, just like we're doing right now. She considered my words, her gaze drifting back to the dolls as if seeking guidance from their fixed expressions.
With a soft sigh, I took her tiny hands in mine, feeling their warmth and vulnerability. "Can you tell me more about what Mommy said?" I prompted, wanting to draw her out without forcing her. She looked up at me, a flicker of uncertainty crossing her face. "She said Daddy did bad things," Mia said slowly, her innocence shining through the shadows of her words. "Bad things?" I echoed, the knot in my stomach tightening. What did Mia know that I didn't? "What do you mean?" Mia seemed to retreat again, her fingers twisting nervously. "Things that made Mommy cry, things that made her go away sometimes," she explained, her voice trembling. My heart ached at the thought of my mother bearing such a heavy burden, one she had tried so hard to shield us from. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to fall into place. I had grown up with the notion that my father had left us, that he had chosen a different life over our family. But what if it was more complicated than that? What if there were truths buried beneath years of silence and unspoken pain? I felt a surge of anger and sadness, not just for myself, but for the heartbreak my mother had endured alone. "Mia, it's important that we talk about these things. I promise you, we can face whatever it is together," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "It's okay to be scared. I'm scared too." Her eyes filled with tears, and I knew I had reached her in some small way. "Can we tell Mommy?" she asked hesitantly, her voice small and fragile. "That's a big step," I replied, weighing my words. "But if we do, we have to be ready for her reaction. It might hurt, but it could also help us heal." I realized that opening that door was going to be as daunting for me as it was for her. But if we were to reclaim our family, we had to start somewhere. Mia nodded, her resolve growing stronger. "I want to help Mommy too," she said softly, her innocence and courage shining through the heaviness of our conversation. I smiled through my own heartache, grateful for the bond we shared. In that moment, I understood that our family wasn't just a collection of broken parts. It was a tapestry woven with love, resilience, and the possibility of healing. As we sat together on the floor, our hearts open and vulnerable, I felt a glimmer of hope. It was a small light, but enough to guide us forward into the tangled web of our family's past. No matter how difficult the journey ahead would be, I knew that as long as we faced it together, we could find a way to heal. I took a deep breath, ready to embrace the unknown and committed to being there for Mia and for Sarah no matter what lay ahead. Together, we would unravel the threads of our story and weave them into a new beginning. If anyone reading this has ever faced family challenges, I invite you to share your own stories. There is strength in unity, and together we can find healing in our shared experiences. As I sat on the edge of Mia's bed that evening, the weight of everything began to settle on my shoulders. The small room was dimly lit, with fairy lights casting a gentle glow on her walls, adorned with drawings and pictures of our family. I watched Mia, her small hands moving gracefully as she traced the patterns in the air, repeating the signs she had shown me earlier. Each gesture felt like a secret code that only the two of us shared, and I realized how crucial it was to understand this language she had created. It seemed to hold the key to unlocking not only her thoughts, but also the tangled emotions that swirled within our family. I wondered how long she had been using these signs, preserving a world of her own amidst the confusion surrounding us. After a few moments of silence, I turned to Mia and asked softly, "Can you show me again what that sign means? The one with the circle and the two lines." Her eyes sparkled with excitement as she mimicked the gesture. It was both beautiful and heartbreaking, a raw expression of what she felt. I could sense that this was more than just a game. It was her way of coping with the chaos around her. I needed to understand her better, to delve deeper into her hidden language and the feelings she was trying to convey. As she continued to sign, I made mental notes, trying to piece together the fragments of her world that were so different from my own. Suddenly, Sarah appeared at the door, her expression a mix of concern and curiosity. "What are you two up to?" she asked, attempting to sound casual,
but I could see the apprehension in her eyes. I gestured for Mia to keep signing while I spoke to Sarah.
I wanted her to see that Mia was not just playing, but communicating in a way that we had overlooked. I explained what I had uncovered about the signs and how they seemed to articulate emotions that we all felt but rarely expressed. Sarah listened intently, her frown deepening as she realized the depth of Mia's struggles. "Maybe we should talk about this as a family," Sarah suggested, her voice tinged with hesitation. It felt like a leap into the unknown, and I could see how much that idea scared her. It would mean confronting the past, acknowledging the hurt that had been buried beneath our routine. "I think it's important," I insisted, trying to convey the urgency I felt. "Mia deserves to be heard, and we need to understand each other better." After a moment, Sarah sighed, her defenses crumbling a little. "Okay, let's do it, but we need to be careful. It might bring up things we're not ready to face." That night, as I lay in bed, I replayed the day's events in my mind. The thought of bringing Mark into this conversation filled me with dread, yet I recognized that it could be the turning point for all of us. Mia needed to know her father, and I needed to figure out how to balance my loyalties without losing sight of my own identity. I remembered the stories Sarah had shared about Mark, how he used to be someone full of life, how he had once been a loving husband and father before the shadows of his past consumed him. I wanted to believe that the man who had walked away was not the same man who could come back and mend our fractured family. The next morning, I woke up with a sense of determination coursing through me. I gathered my thoughts, recalling the signs Mia had shown me, and felt a surge of inspiration. We needed to approach this as a team, to express our fears and hopes openly, and to embrace the healing that could come from understanding one another. I could sense the tension in Sarah as we prepared for our conversation with Mark. But I assured her that we were doing the right thing. It was time to face the past and to give Mia a chance to connect with the father she barely knew. When Mark arrived, I could feel my heart racing, caught between excitement and trepidation. He looked older than I remembered, burdened by the weight of his choices, and I could see the uncertainty in his eyes as he stepped into our home. Sarah took a deep breath, trying to steady herself as she greeted him. "We need to talk," she said, her tone firm but kind. I watched as Mark nodded, sensing the gravity of the moment. As we sat around the kitchen table, I introduced the idea of Mia's signs. I described how they had become her language, a way for her to express feelings that were often left unspoken. Mark listened intently, a mixture of guilt and longing etched on his face. "I didn't realize how much I hurt you all," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "I thought staying away would be easier for everyone." I could feel the tears stinging my eyes as I saw the raw pain in his expression, realizing that he was grappling with his own demons. Mia, sensing the shift in the atmosphere, began to sign again, her little fingers dancing in the air as she shared her innocent interpretation of love and family. I felt a knot tighten in my throat as I realized how pure her intentions were. Mark's gaze softened as he watched her, and for a moment, it seemed as though a bridge was being built between them. The silence that followed was heavy with unspoken words, but it was a silence filled with possibility. In that moment, I understood the power of forgiveness and the healing that could emerge from vulnerability. We had begun a journey, one where our past mistakes could be acknowledged and our present could be transformed. As we shared stories, fears, and hopes, I felt the walls that had surrounded us start to crumble. It was as if Mia's signs had unlocked something within each of us, allowing us to communicate openly for the first time in years. I realized that while the road ahead would still be challenging, we had taken the first step toward rebuilding our family, one gesture, one conversation, and one heart at a time.